I set the phone down on the bank manager's desk. The recording was still playing. My daughter's voice filled the room, cold and calculated. She won't remember anyway, Derek. Just get her to sign. The manager's face had gone white. Mr. Patterson, he said quietly, I need to call our fraud department, and possibly the police. Please don't leave. 3 months earlier, I would have said my life was ordinary, comfortable even. My wife Sarah and I had been married 41 years. We lived in a modest ranch house in Columbus, Ohio, the kind of neighborhood where people still waved from their porches. Sarah had been a librarian before she retired. I'd worked in manufacturing, quality control, nothing glamorous. We'd raised one daughter, Emily. She was our whole world. Sarah started forgetting things about 2 years ago. Little things at first. She'd ask me the same question twice in an hour. She'd forget where she parked at the grocery store. Our family doctor ran tests. Early-stage dementia, he said. Mild cognitive impairment. It wasn't Alzheimer's. Not yet. But it might progress. It might not. There was no way to know. Emily took the news hard. She was 38, married to Derek for 6 years. They lived 20 minutes away in a newer development. One of those places where all the houses looked the same. Derek worked in finance, something with investments I never fully understood. Emily had been in pharmaceutical sales but quit after they got married. Derek made good money, she said. She didn't need to work. After the diagnosis, Emily started visiting more. 2, 3 times a week. She'd bring groceries, help Sarah organize her medications, sit with her while I ran errands. What father wouldn't be? Your daughter wanting to help take care of her mother. Dad, you can't do this alone, Emily said one afternoon. We were sitting in the kitchen while Sarah napped. Mom needs someone here during the day. What if she forgets the stove is on? What if she wanders outside? I'm handling it, I said. I work from home now. Consulting. Just a few hours a week. I'm here. But you can't watch her every second. Emily leaned forward, her hand on mine. Let me help. I can check your accounts, make sure the bills are paid. Mom used to handle all that, right? You probably don't even know what's due when. She was right about that. Sarah had always managed our finances. She was meticulous, had spreadsheets for everything. I barely knew how to log into our bank account. Derek could help too, Emily continued. He's in finance. He could make sure your investments are protected, that you're not paying unnecessary fees. Mom would want you taken care of. It made sense. It all made sense. I signed the papers Emily brought the next week. Power of attorney for healthcare. Durable power of attorney for finances. Just in case, Emily said. Just so someone can help if Mom gets worse and you're overwhelmed. Derek started coming by too. He'd bring his laptop, sit at our dining room table going through statements. Your mutual funds are bleeding you dry in fees, he said once. Let me move some things around. I can get you better returns. I trusted him. He was family. Sarah's condition seemed to plateau. Some days were good, some were bad. She'd forget conversations, repeat herself. But she was still Sarah. She still knew who I was, who Emily was. She still laughed at stupid jokes and wanted to watch her cooking shows in the evening. But I started noticing she seemed anxious when Emily and Derek visited. She'd get quiet, withdrawn. One time, I found her crying in the bedroom after they left. What's wrong, honey? I asked. She looked at me, her eyes unfocused. I can't remember. Something about papers. Did I sign something? Emily just helped with some bills, I said. Nothing to worry about. I don't like Derek, she said suddenly. He's not good. I chalked it up to the dementia. Sarah had always liked Derek before. This was just confusion, paranoia, common with her condition. Then I found the phone. It was a Tuesday morning in October. I was looking for my reading glasses, checking the usual spots. I moved the decorative box on Sarah's nightstand, the one she kept jewelry in. There was something underneath, a small smartphone, not the basic flip phone Sarah used. This was newer, an iPhone with a cracked screen protector. I turned it on. It wasn't password protected. The camera app was open. I clicked on the photo library. Videos. Dozens of them. All dated over the past 6 months. I clicked on the first one. It was shaky footage, like the phone had been propped up somewhere, partially hidden. The angle showed our dining room table. I could hear Emily's voice off camera. "Okay, Mom. Just sign here. And here. Initial there. What is this for?" Sarah's voice. Uncertain. "Just a refinancing thing, Mom. It'll lower your property taxes. It's good for you and Dad. Should Robert see this? Dad already approved it. He just forgot to tell you. You know how he is." I watched Sarah sign. I recognized the documents. They were the papers to add Emily to our house deed. Joint ownership with right of survivorship. I'd never approved anything. I didn't even know Emily had brought them. I clicked another video. Same setup, different day. This time, Derek was there. "Sarah, we need you to move some money from your savings," Derek said. His voice was patient, like he was talking to a child. "It's for a better investment. Higher returns." "How much?" "50,000. Trust me, this is going to be great for your retirement." "I should ask Robert." "Robert already said yes," Emily interrupted. "He just didn't want to worry you with the details. You know how he likes to handle the money stuff." I felt sick. I clicked through more videos. Transfer after transfer. Signatures on documents I'd never seen. Every time Sarah questioned something, Emily or Derek told her I'd approved it, that I'd forgotten to tell her, that this was all normal. The dates on the videos went back 8 months. This had been happening since shortly after Sarah's diagnosis. I needed to think. I slipped the phone into my pocket and went to the garage. My hands were shaking. How much had they taken? What had Sarah signed? And why did she have this phone? Why was she recording them? I spent the rest of the day in my workshop, going through every video. There were 43 of them. 43 instances of my daughter and her husband manipulating my wife's failing memory, convincing her to sign papers, move money, put Emily's name on accounts. In one of the last videos, dated 2 weeks ago, I heard something that made my blood run cold. "Mom, Derek and I need a loan," Emily said. 75,000. "We're in a bit of trouble with some investments. That's a lot of money. We'll pay you back. But we need it now, and we need you not to tell Dad. He'd worry. You know how he gets." "I don't know." "Emily." Derek's voice. Harder now. "Sarah, do you want Emily to lose her house? Because that's what happens if we don't get this money. Your daughter will be homeless. Do you want that?" I heard Sarah crying softly. "No. No, of course not." "Then sign. Here. Now." The video ended. I sat in the dark garage until past midnight. Sarah found me there, confused and worried. "Robert, why are you sitting out here?" I helped her back inside. I couldn't tell her what I'd found. She wouldn't remember. And if I confronted Emily and Derek now, without knowing the full extent of what they'd done, they'd just deny it. Destroy evidence. Blame Sarah's dementia. I needed to be smart about this. The next morning, after Emily's usual visit, I went to our bank. I asked to see someone in management. The receptionist looked concerned at whatever she saw in my face and got me in quickly. The manager was a woman about my age named Carol Martinez. I laid it out for her. The videos. The power of attorney I now suspected was being abused. I needed to know what accounts had been changed, what money had been moved. Carol's expression grew more serious with every video I showed her. "Mr. Patterson, I need to pull up your accounts. This may take a few minutes." It took an hour. When she came back, she had printouts. Lots of them. "Your savings account," she said, "had $230,000 in it 18 months ago. It now has 12,000. I felt the room spin. "Your wife's IRA has been liquidated. Early withdrawal, massive tax penalties. The money was transferred to an account in your daughter's name only." "How much?" $180,000. "Your home," Carol continued, "is now jointly owned with your daughter. If something happens to you or your wife, it automatically becomes hers. No probate, no will, just transfers." Jesus Christ. "Mr. Patterson, this is elder financial abuse. Textbook case. The power of attorney documents were legitimate, but the way they're being used." She paused. "I need to ask you something." Did you know your wife had a safety deposit box here? What? No. It's in her name only. She opened it 6 months ago. Came in alone. Was very specific that only she could access it. She seemed lucid that day. Very determined. Can I see what's in it? You'd need her permission or a court order. But given these circumstances, Carol made a decision. I'm going to call our legal department. What your daughter is doing, your son-in-law, this is fraud. We have a responsibility to report this. I have the phone, I said. The videos. That's evidence, right? That's evidence. But Mr. Patterson, I'm going to be honest with you. Your daughter has power of attorney. She could argue your wife is incompetent, that she was acting in Sarah's best interests. The recordings help, but we need more. We need to show pattern, intent, documentation. The safety deposit box, I said. Sarah put something there. She was protecting something. Carol made some calls. An hour later, with special authorization and my wife's permission, Sarah had a good day. Understood enough to say yes, we opened the box. Inside was a notebook. Sarah's handwriting, shaky but readable. A log. Dates, times, what Emily and Derek had asked her to sign. How much money they'd taken. At the bottom of each entry, Sarah had written the same thing. Told R. I forgot. Didn't want him to know yet. Not until I had proof. My wife had been protecting me. She'd known her memory was failing. She'd known she might not be able to testify, might not remember the details. So she'd documented everything, hidden a phone to record them, kept notes in a place they couldn't access. She'd been fighting them alone, with a deteriorating mind, knowing every day she might forget what she'd learned the day before. The notebook had one more thing, a letter, dated 3 weeks ago. Robert, if you're reading this, it means I succeeded. I gathered the proof. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I knew you'd confront them immediately. You'd be angry. And Emily would lie. And Derek would have lawyers. I needed everything documented first. I needed them to feel safe enough to keep stealing, to leave evidence. I know this sounds crazy. Some days I can't remember breakfast, but I remember what they're doing to us. I remember enough to fight. I love you. Make them pay. Sarah, I broke down in that bank office. Carol stepped out, gave me privacy. When I could breathe again, I took the notebook, took the phone, and I asked Carol what came next. We report this to Adult Protective Services, she said, and probably the police. This is fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. The evidence, you have the videos, the notebook, our bank records, it's substantial. How much total? I asked. How much did they take? Carol consulted her papers. Over $400,000. Your retirement savings, your wife's IRA, a loan against your house that you didn't know about, credit cards, opened in your name, Mr. Patterson. They were systematically draining everything you had. The investigation took 3 months. Emily and Derek hired expensive lawyers. They claimed they'd been helping us, that Sarah was too impaired to manage money, that I'd been neglectful. They painted themselves as responsible children taking care of incompetent parents. Then the prosecutor played the videos in court. Emily's voice. She won't remember anyway, Derek. Just get her to sign. Derek's voice. If we don't get this money, your daughter will be homeless. Do you want that? The jury heard 43 recordings of them manipulating a woman with dementia. They saw Sarah's notebook, her desperate attempts to stay lucid enough to document the abuse. They heard testimony from Carol at the bank, from Sarah's doctor, from neighbors who'd seen Emily visiting constantly, always with papers. The defense tried to argue Sarah was too impaired to have made those recordings intentionally, that she was paranoid and confused. The prosecutor brought Sarah to the stand. It was a good day for her. She wore the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. She looked at the jury and said, I knew I was forgetting things, but I never forgot that my daughter was stealing from us. I never forgot that I needed to stop her. It destroyed the defense's case. Emily was convicted of financial exploitation of an elderly person, identity theft, and fraud. Derek got the same charges plus conspiracy. The judge's face was stone when he handed down the sentences. 7 years for Emily, 9 for Derek, because the judge said he'd clearly been the mastermind. Emily cried. She looked at me as the bailiff led her away, and she said, "Daddy, please, I'm your daughter." I didn't respond. I held Sarah's hand and watched them take her out. We got some of the money back. Not all of it. Some Derek had gambled away. Some went to pay his debts. The house was transferred back to our names only. We had enough to live on, to pay for Sarah's care as her condition progressed. But the real cost wasn't financial. I'd lost my daughter, not to prison, to the realization that she'd been willing to destroy us for money, that she'd looked at her mother, a woman with a failing mind, and seen opportunity. Sarah's dementia got worse after the trial. The stress, the doctors said. Within 6 months, she didn't recognize Emily's name anymore. In a way, I envied her that mercy. I still have the phone. I still have the notebook. On the last page, Sarah wrote something I read: "When the weight of it all feels too heavy. Some days I can't remember my own birthday. But I always remember, I love you. I always remember you're worth protecting. Even if I forget everything else tomorrow, I'll remember that today. I'll write it down so I remembered. That's enough." She'd underlined the last part. That's enough. My daughter calls from prison sometimes. I don't answer. Sarah's lawyer said I should, that a jury might view it favorably at Emily's parole hearing if we showed forgiveness. But some things can't be forgiven. Some betrayals are too deep. I visit Sarah every day at the memory care facility. Sometimes she knows me. Sometimes she calls me by her father's name. Sometimes she's just gone, lost in a fog I can't penetrate. But every visit, I tell her the same thing. You won. You beat them. You were stronger than you're forgetting. You saved us. I don't know if she understands, but I say it anyway, because it's true, and because even though she can't remember what she did, I need her to know that I'll never forget it. My Sarah, my beautiful, brilliant wife, fighting a battle on 2 fronts, one against her own mind, one against people who should have protected her. She won both. That has to count for something. In the end, that has to be enough.